Hello and welcome to Agrestal Vestige, where we are vested in all things Agrestal. My name is Tom and I'm here with you yet again this week for another blended Scotch whiskey review. This week we have Harleston Green. Harleston Green. Now this is a whiskey that you don't see out and about in a lot of shops, but I came across it recently, purchased it, and I must say I was rather surprised by it. Now the story goes with Harleston Green that in the late 1700s, about 1786 I think, they say the Scottish people absconded from Scotland with their two most notable things. One was golf and the other was whiskey. And upon arriving in South Carolina, the United States of America, these merchants came across trying to flog their wares. And whiskey and golf is what they were flogging. So they got here, and even in South Carolina today, you can see the Harleston Green golf course. I think it's in Charleston, actually. Harleston. Interesting. This is bottled at 40% ABV, and it was America's first golf club was introduced, and like I said, two of Scotland's most notorious exports, golf and whiskey. So it's got a long past, and it consists of various malts aged 3, 4, and 5 years from the Highlands, Speyside, the Lowlands, and Campbelltown. Well, that narrows down it a lot, Campbelltown. But according to their official data, that's what it says. So, what do we get on the nose? You get honey, caramel, barley malt, slight heathery, slight citrusy. Interesting light whiskey. I've had one evening with this and was quite pleased with it. I had a couple of drams one evening about 5 days ago. So on the taste, barley sweets, honey, caramel. Yeah, this is obviously an ex-American oak bourbon cask, probably, as far as the maturation is concerned. The grain element of this is there. It's slightly hot, but not overly so. So I'm going to add 2 milliliters of water, since it's bottled at 40%. I'm going to let this sit for just a second. But it's notorious that the Scots come to this country flogging many things over the years, whiskey being one of them. And as you well know from my previous reviews, some of the Cutty Sark back during Prohibition, even though this was long before then. But they've had quite a massive influence on America as far as various things that they're known for and produce. So if you ever find yourself in Charleston, South Carolina, go by the Harleston Green golf course. I don't know if they serve Harleston Green Scotch. I would imagine they should. Anyway, after adding the water, you get a little bit of more of a nuttiness to it. The honey is still there. The caramel is still there. The malt is slightly increased, but there's a nutty element there that wasn't there before. Okay, and the taste? Okay, that changed the taste profile considerably, actually. Now I'm getting I'm definitely getting spearmint, powdered sugar, peppermint oil, like a nice peppermint candy that's made from peppermint oils. It's a nice, rich, oily. It's not an oily whiskey. It's a little viscous. It's not thin, but the oiliness of the peppermint and that spearmint is quite nice, and it's all just sort of dusted with powdered sugar, if you know what I mean. It's nice and sweet without being sickening sweet. And on the nose, after adding the water, actually, you get like blueberries or cranberries, fresh blueberries, fresh cranberries. It's quite different. Yeah, the flavor is you definitely know that it's a large portion of grain whiskey in here. Although the various malts that's in here add the flavor to it, but the grain whiskey that's in there is what adds the sweetness, I believe. It's melded together okay. It's slightly hot, but not overly so, like I said before. On the flavor, you get the honey, the caramel, the barley sugars, the spearmint, the powdered sugar, the peppermint oil, and on the finish is not long whatsoever. It's rather short. I wouldn't say abrupt, but it's rather short. And on the finish, the spearmint continues, and then you get an aspect of the white pepper. You get like spearmint and white pepper with this on the finish. I mean, all in all, I mean, that's what I love about these blended whiskeys. Because you can take three ingredients, water, barley, yeast, and depending on how you distill it, for the length of time you ferment it, and the wood in which you use to mature it. I mean, all whiskeys are so different to one another. And that's the intriguing thing about the Scotch whiskey to me in general, And the blended Scotch whiskies particularly. Like I said, we're doing this series of whiskey, and I'm starting with the blended Scotch whiskies and going to go on to the vatted malts or blended malts and on into the single malts. But I mean, everybody does single malts. Very few people do true blended Scotch whiskies, and there's such a variety out there and such an array of gloriousness if you just look. And simple blended Scotch whiskies that I think you're overlooking something if you don't, pursue this. And if you're a single malt drinker, you need to come back to this from time to time anyway, because you're getting not only palate fatigue, you're just getting too spoiled and always having all the single malts. And funnily enough, nowadays the common people, they'll drink the single malts and prefer the single malts, but years ago it was the royalty and the more exalted individuals and the more moneyed individuals, they preferred their blends. Interesting how times change. Anyway, if I were to score this out of 100, simply because of the way it's matured and put together, I wouldn't put this at an extremely high mark, but I would put it at a solid 84, and that's because there is still a little hotness there in the grain whiskey. The grain aspect of that probably needs to mature a little bit more. The malt whiskeys, they supply a tremendous loveliness to the overall experience, and I think that the blending is done quite well, but just tone down the hotness of the grain a wee bit. But a solid 84 out of 100 I think is a good mark for this. Let me know what you think. Hey, let me know if you can find it, because I just happened across this at one place that I don't go that often. And you find things. Don't discount these little shops, these little stores, or the big ones either. But it's those little places that get given these allotments of different things, and they'll sit there and they'll have dust on the bottle. Nobody recognizes them because it's not a well advertised brand like Macallan or Johnny Walker or Chevy's Regal, things like that. And it's just sitting there lonely, waiting for you to pick it up and become friends with it. When I see those, I pick them up. I become friends with them. And a lot of times, I seek them out in the future and continue wanting to be their friends. And then there's some times which I'm happy of our brief encounter and probably never want to meet them and talk to them again or taste them. Anyway, that's it for this week. My name is Tom. Like, subscribe, hit the notification bell. If these videos are helpful to you, let me know. Drop me a line. And until next time, have a nice day.